don't know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, some way, somehow, through the ups, through the downs, the peaks, the valleys, the hot starts, the cold months, the Baltimore Orioles are the first team in Major League Baseball to 70 wins. I don't know how. I don't know how, but it happens tonight as the Baltimore Orioles win another one in the Trop by taking the series against Tampa Bay 7-5. And of course, this is Kevin and Zach Reacts, and I am not alone. It would only be Zach Reacts if it wasn't for Kevin Ostrecker. And here he is. Kevin, what a win. We have so much to talk about. I feel like we played like 7 games. We have 7 games worth of stats to talk about. But they get it done. And yes, I'm seeing in the chat, the Yankees lose. The Orioles are a full game up once again.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, when your leadoff hitter has 6 at-bats, you know it was a crazy game. And we're going to be talking about that. Colton, obviously, we'll do our one up, one down a little later in the game, but Colton, or a little later in the stream, but Colton was obviously one of the biggest contributors to this, getting on base 3 times, and we have a lot of other things to talk about. But look, man, I mean, this is one of those games where like it goes back and forth, and there are the ups and the downs, like you talked about. But at the end of the day, when you come out on top in a game like this, it just feels so good. Like because you're doubting yourself. You're like, oh wow, right, they came back. It's gonna go bad. It's gonna end. And then they come out on top and you're like, all right, this kind of feels like top of the world stuff right here.
This game, it was over. Then it was stressful. Then it was over again in the opposite way. I was like, no way we win this game. Then we were so back. Then it was over again. And then we won. That's how it happened. I mean, just talk about all the range of emotions going through it at once. I guess let's start offensively. Right now, Colton Cowser leading it off with another 3-hit game. If he's not going to stop producing, then don't take him out of the leadoff spot. The most exciting part for me, Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, 3 hits each. 3 hits each. Just if they're going to get hot, this team's going to go on a different type of run. We've been saying it for a while. This team goes as Adley Rutschman goes. This team goes as Gunnar Henderson goes.
Yeah, and and I've said this plenty of times, Zach. I know you have as well, but this offense has enough firepower to withstand slumps from Adley and Gunnar. But we understand how much of just a better team this is when those guys are hitting and are all on all cylinders. And to see them go out there and have this type of game, like both of them, like obviously Colton also had 3 hits, right? But Colton's been on that tear, right? We need the Orioles need Adley and Gunnar to get back on that track, because as of recent, however far back you want to go for some of these guys, the 0 for 4 spells, 0 for 3 spells with a walk, like we've kind of seen that as more of a consistent thing. We were talking about Adley beginning of the season is having, what was it, like an 18-game hit streak, 15-game, whatever it was, like double digits.
Yeah, I mean, both of them were on base streaks. If they weren't hitting, they were walking. It was just one of those. Now it went through a little bit of a streak where Adley wasn't doing either,
Right.
And Kevin, how weird of a game is it where we're 7 minutes into this, intro's like 2.5 minutes. We've been talking for like 5 minutes right now, and we haven't even mentioned Jackson Holliday hit a home run. Like, so much went down. That feels like it was years ago that happened to put the Orioles up 4-0. That feels like ions ago. This game was like 3 hours and 20 minutes?
Dude, oh my God. It felt like it was going on forever. It felt like it was never going to end. Like, it's just like, because Ramon hit the home run, right? And we'll obviously talk about that. And then it felt like it was like an hour and a half until the game ended that was top of the 8th inning. And you're like, okay, the game's going to end, right? Ramon hits the home run. It's going to be quick, maybe 30 minutes. I don't know the exact timing, right? Like, if someone in the chat knows what the actual game time from Ramon's home run to the end of the game was, we'd love to see it. But
I can figure this out.
Okay, you got it. All right, cool. But Ramon hit that home run, and it
It
felt
was
like
55 minutes.
for 3 half innings.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a long time. So yeah, and exactly. Lorax says about 3 years it took. So it feels like the game was 3 years ago. So welcome to Kevin and Zach from 2021. We are here talking about the game.
Yeah, and real fast, I think Colton Cowser, without a doubt, has cemented himself as the favorite for the Rookie of the Year. No chance.
Who else would it be? Who else would it be?
Luis Heel has fallen off. If it
Yep.
was Luis Heel still going strong, I think it's between those two. But he's kind of come back down to earth, and Colton is catching fire. Kind of. It reminds me of Gunnar Henderson. Like he was very close last year around this time, and then Gunnar just went on like an insane streak where he just took off, and then it became unanimous, pretty much. So I think I can kind of see the same thing happening with Cowser here, where it's a toss. I'm going to say it goes to Cowser right now, but it's more of a toss up over the past 2 weeks. I think within a week or two, it's just going to be Colton Cowser's the AL Rookie of the Year. They'll get the Orioles another first round draft pick. I know Mike Elias enjoys those, so that'll be something.
It pays to be good, man. It pays to be good. So
that is for sure. Gosh, Kevin, let's talk about the pitching. And I know we want to get into Corbin Burns, not his best start. It's weird to say not his best start where he took a no-hitter into the 5th inning. Yeah, but then it kind of just seemed like everything unraveled at once. But before we get into the first guys that came in, I want to talk about the last guy that came in. The new closer, potentially, for the Baltimore Orioles, Sir Anthony Dominguez gets the save, baby. 1 inning, allows that 1 walk. I'm not no comment about that walk. I think he hit that top part of the strike zone maybe 15 times. I was like, where else do you want him to put it? Where do we want him to put it? I was like, what? Like it's top corner. It's top corner. This might have to be a thing. Sir Anthony.
Oh, I like that.
Sir Anthony. But dude, the more he pitches, the more I'm like, this guy could be it. This guy could be the closer. Like we've been looking for that guy to establish himself in that role. I think the name is out there. I think it's in there. It's penciled in right now. I think if we're going into the playoffs, I would like him right at this moment to be getting the ball in the 9th.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. He has electric stuff. Obviously, he's shown a lot since coming over to Baltimore. And again, I've had these takes on Locked On Ravens before, obviously with the Ravens, but I've never had an Orioles one before. Where it's like I was on this like from the jump, where it's like, if you've been listening to Kevin and Zach React, and you've been listening to us here on this show, I had kind of said, hey, look, Sir Anthony should be the guy at closer. And again, I had like 5 people in the chat who were with me, and everybody else is like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? No. It should be this guy. But look, I think that Sir Anthony now has had enough time to kind of establish himself. And it is kind of crazy that the 2 relievers we trust the most in this bullpen right now are 2 guys that weren't with this team a month ago, which is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Birch Smith gives up the home run, gave up 1 bad pitch, but that isn't going to change how I kind of
1 bad pitch. Yep, and we have. Oh, we'll talk about that later. I meant to pull up on Fat O's fan. One bad pitch, exactly what it was. But we'll get to Lucas. Lucas, we'll get to your comment in a little bit, though. That was we'll talk about that.
So let's go back. We're going to go backwards a little bit to Corbin Burns. Not the best start by Corbin Burns, and once again, isn't it crazy that we're sitting here going, damn, Corbin didn't have his best stuff, and he only took a no-hitter into the 5th inning and threw 6 innings of 4 hit ball, 3 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Well, like, this is a bad start for Corbin, and 90% of pitchers in Major League Baseball would take this in a heartbeat. Like,
oh yeah,
it's just crazy how good he is.
Yeah, and what is this? Technically, two bad starts from Corbin Burns in a row, based off what we saw just again 1 start ago, and we were talking about, oh wow, well this is really uncharacteristic for Corbin. And what was it, like 4 runs on
Yep.
whatever it was, and then he comes into this one with a no hitter, and that
Yeah. It's a quality start with the no hitter through 5, and we're saying he wasn't on it today. Hashtag
I
blessed.
know.
Really?
And again, any team in the league will take 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. Just as a baseline box score statistic. Obviously, when you get into the actual flow of the game, he was impeccable for those first 5 innings, and then or first, I guess, into the 5th inning, right? And then you kind of have the rough stretch there. But for a pitcher like Corbin, 3 earned runs is a bad, quote unquote, bad start by his standards. And that just speaks to his excellence. It speaks to how good he is, where we're used to those, like, 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Like, he'll have those starts pretty consistently. And so when he gives up 3 runs, 4 runs, it's like, whoa, like, Corbin, what's going on here? But in reality, I think almost every other pitcher in this league would take giving up 3 or 4 runs. And obviously the Orioles offense paid him back tonight, where, of course, the Burt Smith home run does loom large. Cano gives up a run, so the bullpen did give up a couple. But I thought Corbin, for a bad start, was still pretty good by Major League standards.
Yeah, I mean, he was damn good for Major League standards. And it really is just the 1 inning that it felt like he kind of lost it in the 5th. Every other inning, 1 through 4 in inning 6, he was cruising. That's the other thing. Like, he was just getting guys left and right, 1, 2, 3. Only faced 1 over the minimum up into the 4th, and then goes 1 through 3 in the 6th. It was just that 5th inning. That 5th inning loomed large, and a few mistake pitches got hit. Obviously, a few things. I think Ramon could have made that 1 play, but he ended up getting it back with the 2-run homer anyway. Just overall, not the best. Just 1 bad inning from Corbin, and it's not even. It wasn't even that horrible.
No, again, when we talk about Corbin and the excellence that comes along with being an ace, like, Corbin has come in here and been the best starting pitcher since when, Zach? You can go back probably 20 years. 25 years for Corbin, for sure. Right? Is Mussina that guy for them? Like,
I would say it's Mussina.
Corbin comes in and he's been that guy. So usually, for a guy like Albert Suarez, for a guy like Dean Kramer, they can have quality starts, right? But usually for those guys, they're giving up 3 runs or 4 runs and like, all right, you'll take that, right? For those guys who are coming in, those back end starters. But for your ace, there is a certain level of excellence that you expect. And that's not to say Corbin, when he gives up 3 or 4 runs, is a bad pitcher. We know he's great. We know he's incredible. We know that everybody wants him to be in Baltimore long term. But when it comes to being that guy, that top guy at the top of the rotation, I mean, look, there is that level of excellence. You're like, you give up 3 runs, 4 runs. You're kind of like, what's going on here? But again, this Orioles offense, even if Corbin has a bad start, which would consist in my eyes, Zach, of, honestly, this was an okay start for Corbin. Like, 3 runs is still like, you'll take that 10 times out of 10. 4 to 5 is like kind of like, whoa, what's going on with Corbin? But this Orioles offense is good enough to even withstand a 4 to 5 run start from Corbin Burnes because they're that good.
You saw it last time.
Right.
You saw it last game. Yeah, I completely agree. This offense is good enough, especially when they're on. And we saw it today, even with an offense that the lineup was, I saw people, Kobe Mayo not in there for a 3rd straight game. All of a sudden, Eloy Jimenez isn't in there. We saw Slater in there. It was definitely a lineup that people questioned, but as it goes, of course, the Orioles score 7 runs. And they could have done more. We talked about the 5th inning for pitching, for Corbin Burnes being a tough inning. Orioles had 2nd and 3rd no outs and couldn't get anyone in. That was an inning that, looking back, if the Orioles had lost this game, that everyone would have looked at and been like, that's the inning that it lost. You had an opportunity to go up 6-0. You don't. And then all of a sudden it's 4-3 after the next inning with guys struggling. So the 5th inning almost cost them big time, and they're lucky it didn't. But a win's a win. Win 75, another win in Tampa Bay. This is at least 6 straight, maybe 7 straight in Tampa. I got to look it up. But the Orioles are playing some good ball with in Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, and we got the Zach Eflin tribute video. Obviously, they couldn't play it last night because he
That
was
was so
pitching.
in between innings. Like in between innings, a Zach Eflin video with that what he'd been there for just over a year. Like that was
Yeah,
like
right.
a year and a half.
He was in his second season, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was interesting. I feel like that would be like
Hey,
us give.
classy move. It was a classy move.
Yeah, no,
regardless.
classic move. I just feel like that would be like us. Did we give Aaron Hicks a video?
No,
I don't think
I
we
don't
did.
think so. I don't think so.
We might have. I would give Aaron. Actually, you know what? Because he gave us our only lead in the playoffs last year, he deserves a damn. He deserves a video or a video.
I would have considered giving Kyle Gibson a video.
I would have given Kyle Gibson a video. He deserved it. I'd give Adam Frazier a video.
Oh, yeah.
I would give
those. Not that Hicks didn't deserve it, obviously, but like
yeah, I mean Hicks was literally here for 2 months, like 3 months. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit. I mean, there's so much to talk about offensively. Tony didn't have any more hits. He walked twice, but just another day, hitless day for Tony, where I walk away from it and I feel like you saw a million pitches. Like even when he's not getting hits, he's not driving in runs. Tony just worked these counts tonight. It feels like it's like clockwork right now. Every few days, every single game, Tony's out there at least one at bat is going 9 to 12 pitches. And it's just consistently working the pitcher. It's getting ahead not even getting ahead in the count. He's starting 0-2 in some of these. And he is just fighting and foul off. Yeah, longest pitch was 12 pitches. It's just right now. I love his approach at the plate, even when he's not hitting home runs, even when he's not getting hits. 2 walks tonight and a number of times working the pitch count. Love it. Letting your teammates see more pitches, getting the pitcher tired. And the way with just how violent Tony swings, how much power he has, the more pitches he sees, the more the odds just increase that he's going to get a barrel on something. And, if you're throwing 12 pitches to Tony, you're lucky one doesn't get put into the seats, because that's, especially right now with how he's hitting, most home runs in baseball since June 1st. If you throw any mistakes in those 12 pitches, there's a very good chance that it ends up in the bleachers and you're watching Tony trot around the bases.
Yeah, we know the percentages on these things, right? The more pitches the batter sees, the better likelihood that they will have a chance to either get on base or just get a hit in that at bat. And we know that with making these pitchers working counts, getting to that bullpen early in a series, obviously I know this is game 2 here, but getting to that bullpen, it does wonders sometimes, where you get that pitcher count or that pitch count up in general. And look, man, you're able to go and be productive in that. So again, while it wasn't like Tony had 3 home runs tonight, right? Like he didn't get a hit, but he was able to walk twice off of counts that, as you mentioned, Zach, were not in his favor all the time. And that just goes to show, like, yes, Tony's a power guy. We know Tony's a power guy, but he has so much other value beyond that. And so when we had that conversation a couple nights ago about who,
could we finally have it?
Wow. Mike is right. And a little side note before I get back into Tony, this is true. If you've been with us on the Ryan Ripken Show post-game reacts, obviously this is Kevin and Zach reacts now on this channel. I have the spicy pickles.
If you haven't already.
Yes. Hit
really
the subscribe button. We do post-game reactions after every Orioles game. We just had our first Ravens post-game reaction as well. But I used to do spicy pickles for a sweep. But now I discovered at a grocery store that there was a series of spicy ramen. It was 6 or 7 different tiers of spice. And so whenever the Orioles sweep a team, I will eat a level of spicy ramen. And we have not had a spicy ramen yet on Kevin and Zach React. So I think this will be if they win tomorrow, we will have our first spicy ramen chow down on Kevin and Zach. Yeah, so
I'm excited. We
we're
do
gonna
have
see
to.
how
I
that
agree with
goes.
the comments. We do have
And
to. I think we have to skip a few spices. We're getting into
oh
the.
no,
We're getting
no,
more pen
oh man,
Kevin.
we
This
gotta
is a
be we
short
gotta
one.
honor it, man. We gotta honor it.
Yeah, we're honoring it from like halfway up the list. This is a panic
Okay,
pause.
all right. Well,
This is a
I want to address Laura asking what happened to Birchfish. I believe if my schedule is the way I believe my schedule is going to be tomorrow, which Sundays are my busy day of the week. But if I have planned this out right, I believe Birchfish will be coming home tomorrow. So
fish.
we will hopefully have some Birchfish content for you tomorrow.
Yeah, is it because we haven't gotten Birch Fish yet that he gave up the home run? Who knows? Who knows? So
That's what I was saying. I said that the night we did it, where I'm like, this is a lot of pressure on me here because if Birch just kind of like goes down, it's probably going to be on my or our shoulders. So,
oh yeah. So Kevin, I know you're talking about Tony, but it really is this lineup right now. Let's talk about this. Cowser lead off, Tony 2, Henderson, Rutschman, especially if Gunnar and Adley are getting hot. Do you keep it the same way? Do you kind of ride this hot hand that you've formed? In my opinion, I think this is the best way to work the lineup right now, especially if those two can get hot. Have Cowser getting on ahead of him. Tony's got the ability to score himself or get into a double, get in scoring position. And then Gunnar and Adley coming up. I love how this lineup looks right now.
yeah, and there were always conversations about like if Adley's not 2, where do you put him in the lineup? I know they had him at 5 and we're kind of experimenting. But if he's just getting his swagger back in general, I don't hate how the lineup is right now. I mean, I'm with you. I think Tony in the 2 spot it honestly feels kind of natural to me, where he's hitting for power. Colton's obviously getting on enough where it's not so. The thing with Gunnar in the leadoff spot was that, like, oh, he's hitting homers, but it's solo homers all the time. Like, you're not getting the maximum amount of runs you could be getting. Colton's getting on enough to where you have Tony batting behind him, or even like this bottom of the lineup turn is also so different too, where obviously, like, is Austin Slater going to be in the lineup every night? No. Is Ramon going to be there even though he had the homer tonight? No. Like, I think with Jackson hitting in that anywhere from 6 to 9 slot and the bottom of the lineup being better now, like Mullins can be down there, like whoever you want to put, the turn of the lineup to get to Tony is a lot better now. But then with Gunnar and Adley, I mean, I hope, man. I hope this is the start of just renewed confidence for both of those guys because they've needed it. I mean, we know they're talented. This is not a talent issue. We're not sitting here saying that, oh, the Monstars came in here and just swiped all their talent away and this is it, right? They're done as baseball players. Guys go through tough stretches, man. We saw it with Colton, and now everybody is back on the Colton train after I think about 70% of the fan base hopped off of it. So, I mean, I think for Adley and Gunnar, they are the lifebloods of this Orioles offense. But the good part about that for the Orioles is that they don't have to be every single night. You can have Tony produce. You can have Colton produce. Jackson is obviously, we haven't even talked about Jackson tonight yet. So it's been crazy just the amount of talent they have in this lineup, 1 through 9, that can do damage to a pitching staff. And so you don't have to have Adley and Gunnar carry you every night. You can still win games without those guys producing the way that I know that we all know they can.
Yeah. Completely agree. Let's get into one up, one down because I saw a few people give theirs. So I want to do ours right now. So if you're new to the channel, one up, one down, we give one person that we liked that did something tonight and one person that we kind of didn't like the performance. My one up, it's tough. I could go so many places, but I'm going to give it to Ramon. He had the go-ahead homer. I didn't like him in the field. I think he struggled once again. I think at least one of those 2 plays could have been made. I think the second one was a lot tougher. That first one in the 5th inning, I think, could have changed the outcome of that if it was fielded. But I'll give it to him. 2 for 5. When he was put in the lineup, he made it happen. So I'm going to give my one up to Ramon Arias.
I don't blame you, man. And again, like you said, there are a lot of choices here. I mean, you just look up and down this lineup card. I mean, 4 of your first 5 hitters have 3 hits in this game. Wow, I don't know where I want to go with this. If we're being, do I want to do it?
Who are you doing?
I'm gonna give it to the guy I believed in from the jump. I'm gonna give it to Sir Anthony, man.
Wow. You know what? First save. I appreciate
First
that.
save. I'm gonna do it. Obviously, with me sticking by him and being on the closer train very early. Obviously, you could say Colton. Obviously, you could say Gunnar, Adley, Mountie, whatever you want. Jackson, Corbin. Even if you don't want to include that last inning, we're gonna include the last inning. But
Yeah. And just
man,
see this for real quick, Burley Orange. So 1 up, 1 down. We give every single game one person we think kind of like our, MVP of the game. Not necessarily MVP, but someone who we think had a great performance, and then someone who we thought had a down night. So yeah, you did it perfectly. Ryan Mountcastle 3 for 5, definitely
yep.
up there. 3 RBIs.
Yep, man. But again, Sir Anthony is a guy we've been looking for the solution, which Bert Smith out again. The homer was not great, but Bert Smith hashtag the solution is the nickname I've given him. Sir Anthony, though, like you're not trusting Kimbrel in those moments. I almost said Corbin. You're not trusting Kimbrel in those moments.
I love this answer.
Right. We're talking Olympics now.
USA.
Hey, you know what? Serbia got the bronze. Best case scenario for me. Best case scenario for me. I was rooting for USA. They got the gold. Obviously, if it wasn't USA, I wanted Serbia for Jokic because I'm a Nuggets fan. So Serbia got the bronze for Jokic. Jokic was happy. And then obviously USA, who I was rooting for, got the gold. So best case scenario for me, honestly, outside of Serbia getting silver in the whole thing. But you know what? It is crazy, though, that's probably the last time we're seeing LeBron, Steph, and Katie on the court together.
I don't believe that.
LeBron said he's not doing it again. At least he said he doesn't think he will. Katie said he's unsure. I don't know what Steph said.
2028 in LA, they're off. They're all going to be on the bench. All of them are going to be
on the bench. You think LeBron? You think LeBron on the bench? Steph on the bench?
Dude, they will be there no matter what.
Bench or sit next to Melo. I think Steph and KD will play. I don't think LeBron will play.
I disagree, but yeah. All right. Let's 1 down. I'm gonna go umpires just because they waste. I feel like I don't think anyone else had a really bad game except the umpires, especially against Sir Anthony. Like just call the strike, dude. It's in the zone. Like he's painting the top corner. Just give it to him. Like it is very clear what's happening. The batter's not doing anything with that. Like it's a strike all day, but whatever. Ump's gonna ump.
There's not really a guy that I would give a 1 down here too.
Slater, just because sometimes he didn't look.
Yeah, I guess the over
3 strikeouts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but again, what is with like this past? It's been a season-long thing, but this past like week and a half, umpiring for the Orioles has just been out of this world awful. And we preach this, Zach. Both of us preach this. If you're calling bad pitches for one team, call it for the other team. Be consistent. Yeah. If your zone is the same for both teams, fine. Like you still got to get the calls right. Like that's the top priority. But if you're not getting calls right for one team, then that same energy for your zone should be for the other team too. It just hasn't seen. It seems. I know it's not a bias, but it kind of feels like a bias for what's going on here because the Orioles are not getting these calls for the most part, and these other teams are. So I don't know, man.
It really is. It's just so annoying. It's so annoying. So yeah, that'll be my 1 down. Will be the ump, and then like the side mention. I know he was your 1 down, but also honorable mention. He is my honorable mention is Austin Slater. And I'm going to say Brandon Hyde, not for the reason that other people are, but just because he robbed us of another Eloy at bat. Just let the homie play. I just love that man.
You're man. Both Eloy and O'Hearn out of this game. They were the kind of platoon. Eloy,
Ryan,
O'Hearn, and Kobe. All 3 of them Did not.
setting.
Well,
I mean,
O'Hearn got
obviously,
the pinch
O'Hearn
hit,
makes
right?
sense.
But
O'Hearn makes sense against the lefty.
yes, against the lefty.
I don't understand why Kobe didn't face a lefty. Don't get why Eloy didn't face a lefty, if I'm being honest. But
Yeah.
I would have
And
put.
again, I feel like they want to have Tony's bat in the lineup while giving him some off time in the field. That's why they had him DH tonight and had Slater in the game. But again, as we get closer down the stretch here, you just can't afford that. Like, I'm putting Tony in right field, not putting O'Hearn at DH. Or Eloy, obviously, depending on the matchup, right? Like, it just it depends. But that's why he brought Eloy in here. He's not playing in the field. If he does, I'll be terrified. So
I don't think he brought a glove.
that was in the trade condition. You said
he ain't
you can come to Baltimore, but leave all your gloves in Chicago. You're not bringing them over to Baltimore.
I do not think Eloy Jimenez even owns a baseball glove. He is here to hit. Yeah. He is here to hit. Let's look a little forward to tomorrow. Albert Suarez on the mound as they go for the sweep. Kind of, are you trusting Suarez? It seems like he's now the guy to take on that fifth starter spot. Are you happy with that? I mean, we saw massive game last week for him, or I guess earlier this week at this point. Really just out of nowhere, spot start with Grayson coming out and just did everything they could. The team didn't get the win, which we all talked about, being a huge disappointment. But what are your thoughts going into tomorrow? Spriggs going for Tampa. He's having a rough down year, but yeah. Kind of what are your thoughts for Suarez starting tomorrow?
It feels like recently it's been kind of like a tale of two Suarez's, where
we're going to see one or the other tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. Where he either gives up like 5 runs in 3 innings, or he goes 5 in 2/3 and gives up 1 run or 2. Mm-hmm. It kind of feels like where early in the season it was like that Suarez magic, right? They found this gem, and we can all say that his beginning of the year was incredible. But it feels like we have gotten more into the territory of you're getting one guy or the other here. And I think against Tampa, he should go out and dominate. But we know that's not always the case, even against these lineups that are not, some of the top in the league. And we know the Rays certainly, they got rid of a lot of talent at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I would anticipate this is a good start for Suarez, but you never know in today's game where
you're feeling
how long has it been? Like, I haven't eaten my spicy ramen ever.
Has it been since Chicago?
I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked if it is. It's been like months since that has happened.
Yeah, so I can't remember the last sweep.
It's been a while. It's been a very long time.
Been a very long time.
I don't know. But hopefully this is it.
Yeah. I trust them. Just going back to Suarez real fast, I'm really excited just to see kind of which Suarez we get, because like you alluded to, you get one or the other. It seems like within the first 2 innings, you figure out pretty fast what Suarez you are about to get. And if it's the good Suarez, if it's the one that'll go out there and give us 5-6 innings of 2-run ball, then I'm taking that any day of the week, Kevin. Any day of the week. He's just got to give you an opportunity to win tomorrow. If he gives you the opportunity to go get a sweep, you don't need him to dominate. You don't need him to throw 7 shutout. Just put together 5 innings, 1 to 2 runs. Give this offense an opportunity against Springs, who's coming back from injury. He's only thrown 8 2/3 innings this year. So I know the ERA is inflated. That's not, he's still recovering. Sort of like Rasmussen today. He's everyone in Tampa Bay is recovering from Tommy John right now. Like, Tampa Bay was us last year, and now this is what we'll be like next year, when it's like throwing guys 4 innings here, 2 innings here, just to try to get them back. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited for that. I saw someone say predict the line, so I'm gonna go the classic Albert Suarez. He's gonna go 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk, 5 hits, and they just pull him. 5 1/3. I'm going to go 5 1/3 to 2. And put your predictions in the chat. What's your prediction for Albert Suarez tomorrow?
I'm going to go 5 innings. I will go 5 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. That's what I'll go. So I think that's enough with the Orioles offense to go out there and win the game. The bullpen, I think, is pitching well enough that they can go out there and get the job done, shut that door, especially against this Rays lineup. So we'll kind of see how it all goes. But that's kind of where it kind of seems like what it like in between what the both of us said, Zach. It's kind of like a typical Albert Suarez start.
It is
like that. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and where was this real fast? So yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about the injury updates we got for today. So for those who didn't see it, so pretty much they said Grayson Rodriguez has what they referred to as a more mild strain, saying they expect him to be pitching. They are optimistic he can be pitching in late September. I almost said late March. That would have made no sense. In late September, they're hoping he can be back then. The same can be said with Danny Coulombe and Jordan Westburg. They are still optimistic that both of them will be able to return sometime in September, which would be massive, especially we talk about Danny Coulombe, how much he means to this bullpen, period. And then finally, Jacob Webb, talk about guys who mean a lot to this bullpen. Jacob Webb, they said he doesn't even really have an injury. He had no structural damage or anything. They just said his elbow is, in quotes, barking. So I guess he's just kind of feeling it's late in the year. He's pitched every other day, it feels like. So I understand that. Giving him some rest, then go to see what happens. I believe they're giving for Grayson 10 days of no pitching, and then it's going to slowly move up. They're going to get imaging done again in 3 weeks.
Yeah, man. Man, first of all, barking for a injury designation is crazy.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Like they're like, yeah, it's barking.
Hey, we're introducing new injury terms. We love that. But I know that some people were concerned about, maybe Webb being done for the season, maybe some Tommy John elements in there with the elbow being the designation there. But yeah, I mean, out of all of those guys, we did not hear any, this guy's done for the year. Like, I think that we were, yeah, man, seriously, that's what we're talking about. That's how teams should designate their guys from now on.
He's just got that dog in him. Like,
it's either he has it or he doesn't. He got that dog or he doesn't have that dog, man. That's how it should be. But the Orioles, again, it was optimistic that Grayson will return in late September. Those type of injuries are just I don't want to say it. They're so unpredictable. To where he could be back at the end of September and just be going full speed Grayson. But we could also be wondering, like, okay, is he really back to 100%? What's kind of the timeline? Because lat strains, obviously, it doesn't look as bad as the last time he suffered when he missed what? He missed 3 months with that in the minors, right, Zach? So it doesn't look as bad as the last time. The Orioles obviously want to be cautious. The regular season doesn't matter anymore when it comes to Grayson. You want to have him elder for the playoffs, right? Like, just get into the dance somehow and have Grayson come back. That, I think, is the way the Orioles want to play this. But you mentioned Danny, man. He's such a big part of this bullpen. It's already been, 2 months since he's pitched, right?
Crazy. I miss Danny so much.
I know that's your guy, man. He's my guy too, but I know he's more your guy than mine. So it is crazy. And I see Ramey here saying, yeah, let's hope G-Rod doesn't pull a Tyus Bowser. That would be worst case. That would be absolute worst case
ever. Just
We still don't know what happened to Tyus Bowser, by the way. Like, I try to talk about it on Locked On Ravens. I'm just like, well, Tyus was great, and then he got injured, and then he just never came back. We don't know why he didn't come back.
Yeah, weirdest thing.
My guess there is that he thought he was ready. The team didn't want to be liable, and he was like, okay, well, I'm done with this. This is dumb. So that's what I assume. Obviously, we don't know. But for Grayson, I mean, if he comes back at 85%, Do you quote unquote, Zach, if he's not ready by the playoffs, do you quote unquote rush him back? Or do you
No,
play the cautious role? No.
you play the cautious role.
So you'd rather not have him for the playoffs and not rush him back, even if he's at 85.
Okay, Kevin, put this question. Oh my God.
Well, that's what we do here. We
Yeah,
react, don't
I'm
we?
gonna if he's above 80%, I would go. I would tell him to go.
Okay.
Anything below that, no. And the biggest thing is like re-injury. If it's possible that he re-injures it and he would miss into part of next season, I don't do it at all. But if they say at worst he re-injures it, it's just aggravated, and he misses a few months in the off season, sure, I would be down with that. But if it's going to be to the point where remember, Corbin's not under contract next year. Grayson's one of the few pitchers that we have under contract. If it's potentially going to take him out of next year, can't. You can't take that risk, because then you're starting next year with Zach Eflin as your number one.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that a World Series is super important this season, and they can compete for it. They have the talent to do it. I know the pitching staff is stretched so thin right now, especially with Grayson being out. But the delicate balance of running a baseball team, running a sports club in general, is weighing the season you're in versus the future. And so if Grayson is at 95%, he's feeling good. He's feeling ready. There are no setbacks, right? I think you put him out there. But if this is like he's 3/4 of the way and you still have some uncertainty, it is not worth risking his long-term future over this. It's not worth him having a full strain or he starts to tear, right? That's not worth it in the long run. Where this, ideally, if everything goes right for this ball club, Zach, and it's not guaranteed, right? We've seen plenty of teams with great young cores who we thought could have a 10-year plus future of competitive baseball. Right? We've seen those teams go up in flames sometimes. But if everything goes right for this ball club, they have 10 plus years probably to compete for a World Series.
Yeah.
And I would hate, look, Grayson is not the be all end all to win a World Series, but Grayson is very important when it comes to winning a World Series. So
extremely.
If you have to suffer a tough playoff defeat this season because Grayson's not there, to go and win it next year or in 2 years because Grayson's fully healthy and isn't just, injured for the rest of his career and having setbacks with that thing, I would go that route because it's not worth risking a player's long-term future over one season, especially when this team has hopefully many seasons ahead to compete for a World Series title.
No, yeah, I completely agree. It's that weird balance of going for it now versus, hey, this team is set up for multiple years of success and you don't want to put that in jeopardy. So it's going to be super interesting. I think Grayson's the most interesting one to kind of discuss because I think it looks like Jacob Webb has kind of dodged a bullet. He'll just be back in a few weeks, hopefully. They've seemed very optimistic about Westberg. It'll be interesting to see kind of Westberg's process because, with rehab and everything, how long does it take for him to get back up to the major leagues? It's going to be interesting. And then once he's here, what Jordan Westberg do we see? Do you see an injured Jordan Westberg? Is he kind of, I don't want to say losing a step, but just in the fact of you miss a month of baseball, it's hard to go right back into being one of the top producers on this team. So it'll be interesting to see that. Also, when Westberg comes back, I know Kobe Mayo's not playing great right now. So I guess he just takes back over third base. But if Kobe's hitting well, if Urias is hitting well, you have some decisions to make there. And then I think we all agree Danny Coulombe is just a massive addition, pretty much no matter what, if he can get back to any sort of consistency in that bullpen.
Yeah. When you talk about playoff reinforcements, like we know September call-ups are a big thing and like that kind of, helps the team work into the postseason. But if you're talking about playoff reinforcements, Jordan Westberg, Danny Coulombe, Grayson Rodriguez, man, if the Orioles can at least weather the storm whether it's win the AL. Like, look, the goal here is to win the AL East. That's the obvious goal. But if you can just if you can just sneak your way into this dance some way somehow, and then you get 3 top players back. I mean, it is literally 1 position player, 1 starting pitcher, and 1 relief pitcher at the top of their games, and they're good to go, and there aren't any like restrictions. That's probably the best reinforcement that any team in this playoffs can get. So that's going to be huge, but they do have enough to weather the storm up until that point, because we do know long term, Zach, how important Westy, Coulomb, and Rodriguez are to this team.
Extremely important to this team. I mean, these are, if you want to talk about like 3 months ago, guys that you were like, you can't lose, especially after Bradish goes down. I know Coulomb went down like literally days before Bradish, but if you want to talk about that, it was, you would say you couldn't lose Westberg because of how he's producing with runners in scoring position, late in games, close games. You can't lose Coulomb because he really was the most consistent pitcher you had, and you couldn't lose your number 2 in Grayson. So that's the toughest. And also, Jacob Webb was a guy that you pitched every single day. It felt like that you trusted and relied on. So those are definitely 4 guys that this team felt like you would not want to lose. So if you can get them back and they can reach any type of close proximity to what they were before going down, this will this has the making be a very special postseason run if this team gets hot. I love Zach Eflin. I love Corbin Burnes. I think those 2 give you a very damn good chance at winning games 1 and 2 in a postseason game. And then it's just finding a way to win that 3rd.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel as confident as ever in the 1 through 3 right now, assuming Grayson is there. With Corbin, Grayson, and Eflin, those 3 guys, realistically, every time those 3 go out, you have a good shot to go 3-0 if your offense is able to pick up some slack, even if there's a little slip up from any of those 3 guys. Now, is Eflin going to be this level from now on? I'd expect him to give up a few more runs than he has, but he still is a number 3 starter, is a really good option to have. Corbin, his bad starts are giving up 3 to 4 runs. If he has a good start in the playoffs, I think you win that game. If Grayson is back. Now, again, they have to get through some of the problems they have still, which is they do need more consistency in the bullpen, which I think has been better recently, but still they need to get through more of that consistency and have that continue to be a trend. Offensively, can they get their stars back on track? But if they can get everybody going and have everything, because again, it doesn't matter, Zach, in October if you played bad baseball in July.
No, not at all.
It doesn't matter. It matters what you do in October.
No one talks about that. The Rangers had multiple losing streaks. They lost 8 straight at one point right before the playoffs last year. No one talks about that. You know why, Kevin? Because they got a ring. Winning a ring cures all losing streaks throughout the season. All the downs get cured. All the holes that people complained about, the weak points, it's all gone if you get that ring. No one cares.
Yeah. So, look, for the time to work through the issues is obviously first in spring training. We're very far past that now. So the time to work through it is in the regular season. If you're a competitive team, you find a way to get in the dance while going through your struggles, going through your slumps, going through everything. And then you find a way in October, after you have worked through those things, to go and play good baseball the whole way. Because with Texas last year, like you talked about, Zach, with Arizona last year as well, whose World Series pick was Rangers versus Diamondbacks last year? Heading into the playoffs.
If you did it a week before the playoffs, neither of them was even in the playoffs. Like, they both clinched in the final few days. It's all about getting to the dance, people. It's
exactly. And Ed is saying, how would Kevin and Zach react if we win it all? Zach will probably collapse.
I've thought about this multiple times about the post-game show if we win the World Series. And I just plan on there to be a lot of tears. I'm just going to be straight with you guys. There will be a lot of shots. There will be a lot of drinking, and there will be a lot of tears.
Man, I mean, during the playoffs, we have to do some watch-alongs, don't we?
Oh, it's
Like
gonna get intense, but we will be doing some.
we're gonna do it. Zach and I will be on the same feed, and then everybody in chat obviously filtering in to the chat. But we're planning to do that for Ravens games, and obviously for some of these higher leverage Orioles games, that includes the playoffs, right? So we're gonna be trying to do that as much as we can for this. But man, it's just overcome with emotion. I think both of us are gonna. Everybody, right? Everybody's gonna be overcome with
Yeah.
emotion for that, man. So crazy, yeah. And Joe speaking absolute facts right here. Absolute facts. Zach's Ravens lost rants are going to be insane.
It's gonna. You guys don't even know how bad. You guys think it's bad in baseball season? This is one of 162. I only got 16 of these things. Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna do my live stream for Locked On Ravens. I'm gonna hop in here. We're gonna hit that record button. Zach is gonna be like, "Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something." It's just gonna be like just craziness from the jump.
In the fourth quarter, you cannot close out a football game.
Hey, you know what? If the Orioles lose in the postseason too, and some crazy stuff, I know it's about to be that same reaction to both of us too. So,
yeah, and I know this is the one. This is Kevin and Zach React. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. We go live after every single Orioles and Ravens game at breaking news, all of that. So, would really appreciate if you could do that. But before we get out of here, Kevin, I know we kind of have gotten off track enough towards the Ravens where I am okay with just asking this. Let's just quickly talk about Nate Wiggins. It looks like they avoided anything serious.
yeah, and we do have one more Orioles topic after this as well. But yeah, the report from Jeff Zrebiec, apparently the Ravens feel like Nate Wiggins ended up avoiding a significant injury. They are optimistic for his chances in week 1. I do not expect him to see it for the remainder of the preseason.
No, you should not. No.
But this is just the state of the game right now. I mean, Marquise Brown, Zach, if you saw, went down. You have to be hospitalized, actually, with a joint sprain he suffered, and he's expected to miss, I think, a month or so. So his availability is in serious doubt for the opener against the Ravens. But injuries happen throughout the game. Wiggins was throwing his weight around, and he does not have a lot of it. I mean, he's slender. But, I mean, we talked about it last night because we do post-game reaction streams, and he was one of the bright spots. In fact, the biggest bright spot this team had. So
yeah,
we are going to see on that as well, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there before.
Yeah, and then I see. Oh, I wanted to bring up this. Brutally Roran's asking, can I become a member? Even if you do not yourself pay for members. So we are coming up on that watch hour goal. Right. That is the last step for us being able to introduce memberships. And we have some ideas for that. You know, one of us giving a 30-second video, maybe after every game, you know, whether it's Zach or I, you know, just giving like a selfie video before we go live, talking about the results of the game. We'll have other perks as well for our memberships. But if you yourself don't pay for the membership, people can gift memberships in the chat as a way to support the channel. So you can be gifted a membership from somebody else if they gift 1 membership, 5 memberships. But you know what? Calvin is exactly right there. Subscribing is absolutely free.
If you're here, if you're watching, if you're chatting with us, that's all we ask for. That's all we ask for. We enjoy this stuff. The membership is just some add-on stuff. There will be no paywalls to stuff.
Right.
You guys, nothing will be changing. We do all of this just for free. So
exactly. Yeah. And any support we appreciate, but again, that includes if you want to subscribe for free, support us that way when we get memberships going. If you want to donate like that, obviously we appreciate as well. But we do this for the community. We love our community. We obviously love the Ryan Ripken Show community as well, which again, if you have not subscribed over there yet, be sure to do that as well. We go live Monday and Thursday in studio. But let's get into one more Orioles topic, Zach, before we head out of here. I know I pulled up Lucas's comment earlier in the show, said I'd get back to it. So what about Jackson? Right? He's leading off. Could you see Jackson getting promoted? Could you see him? He's leading off basically every one of his at-bats this year. I mean, I think he's working the count very well. He's hitting the pitches that he's getting to. Man, it just feels like he is already. There is such a night and day difference between who he was when he came up the first time and who he was now. But
Different baseball player.
he's been incredible, and we haven't even talked about him at all tonight. But man, it has been. You said it, man. This is the prince that was promised here.
Yeah, and it's different things. It's like just mentally, you see him, fall behind counts. It doesn't matter to him. He'll foul off pitches. He's catching up to pitches that he was not hitting before. He's finding himself in counts he wasn't finding himself in before. Now, obviously, a lot of that has to do with, like, let's just be real. The umps were squeezing that man at points. It was balls 4 inches off the plate, and they're calling strike one. And it's like, how's the kid supposed to adjust when his strike zone is an 8 by 8 foot zone? But yeah, Jackson Holiday, with you just see the approach, the confidence is as high as ever. And at the end of the day, is it just the golden tee? Is the golden tee the difference? We'll never know, but it's awesome to see Jackson coming out here and doing exactly. How can you not feel good for him after all the pressure that was put on him, all the spotlight when he came up? Remember, it was everywhere he walked. It was like 50 cameras in his face. He couldn't go anywhere. Anytime he struck out, every time he got to the plate, talk about this for pressure. Every time he stepped up to the plate in Baltimore, there was a standing ovation. That's pressure. There was 33 at bats, and every single one of those at home was a standing ovation before it, especially before that first hit, every single time. So I'm excited for him specifically, but we all knew this was coming. Ken, we've been saying this for a while. Talent's never been an issue for Jackson. He failed for the first time. It was how was he going to adjust? He's adjusting pretty damn well, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, this is exactly what you wanted to see, and I do think it does have something to do with like the first time, and we're seeing it with Kobe right now, right? First time you're up in the majors ever. It is such a jump from the minor leagues to the major leagues. Some guys do just need more time to adjust. Other guys just get it like that, and that's it, and they're good to go and they're off and running. But even for some of the top guys, the best of the best prospects, it can be a little difficult. So, man, he looks so poised up there. He looks like a vet, honestly. Like he's working counts. He's getting a hold of pitches. He knows where his pitches are. He's looking for those specifically. I mean, he's one of the most effective hitters in this lineup already, and he's batting anywhere from 6th to 8th. Like that's just how good he's been right now.
Yeah, and these guys, he's gonna be so good. People don't understand, like, he could very well end up better than Gunnar Henderson. And that's no slouch at Gunnar. Gunner's an MVP candidate. Gunner's going to be the face of baseball for a long time. But that's how good Jackson Holiday is at this game. Jackson Holiday is so good at this game of baseball. It's unreal. Every time you watch him, you're just like, it doesn't make sense that he's 20 years old, Kevin. Like, he's 20 years old going lefty, 408 feet. All of his home runs have been over 400 feet. If he's getting them, he's not getting no cheap shots. That's for damn sure, Kevin. That's for damn sure.
Nope. And that's the thing, too, where there's still so much improvement for Jackson. There's still so much that he has to learn about the MLB game, that he has to grow into for the MLB game. And we have seen that first evolution of growth from who he was back at the beginning of the season in the majors versus who he is now in the majors. But to think that he is still only 20 years old, that he can still do what he's doing now, but be better at that and continue learning and having experiences and just continue stacking on that. Yeah. And by the way,
he doesn't turn 21 till December.
Crazy. By the way, his homers are not just like barely over the wall homers. They are like 400 plus, 420 plus.
Yeah, every single one.
They're getting out of there in a hurry and they're going far.
Yeah, every single one's been over 400 feet. Actually, I think today was the shortest at 408. I mean, he's not getting cheated, that's for sure. If he's hitting them, and every single time he knows it, which is even better. The stare from that kid, it gets me going every single time.
It is great. And I mean, to have a guy like that in the middle to bottom part of your lineup when we've talked about the turn, getting to Colton and Tony, or just him being effective in his own right. I mean, I could see him being the permanent, sixth guy, right? 5 to 6. Could you see him in there? Like, I think 6 is a pretty good spot for him if he's not leaving. Right?
Yeah.
Like, could you see him in 6?
Yeah. Oh, and someone's saying his Cleveland home run was 386. So all of them since have been over 400. So, yeah, I think right now I don't see Jackson getting the leadoff spot this year. I think eventually he does, but not this season, maybe next year. Because, one, I don't think you take Colton Cowser out of the leadoff spot. This is where I don't care about analytics. This is straight up. Ever since Colton Cowser's gotten in the leadoff spot, he's been hot. Don't take him out of the leadoff spot,
Yeah. I don't know why you would. I don't know why he would. He's been too hot to do that. I mean, he's found a home. And I think while Jackson profiles as the long-term leadoff hitter for this team, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man.
How do you take him out right now? How do you take Colton out of the leadoff spot?
No, you can't.
You can't.
You absolutely cannot.
Yeah, there's the answer. You can't take him out of the leadoff spot.
Nope, cannot do it. Actually, this is a question I've been to ask you, Zach. Where did you actually get that at?
I have like 9 million of these hats, Kevin. This is
okay. Where'd you get it? That didn't answer the question. Where'd you?
It's my dad's. That's why it's my dad's company. That's why I have so many of these hats.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's why that's why I have them in different colors. That's why like there are. I used to have 2 yellow.
So what's in, and you know this? What's in right now is the row pads.
Yeah, that's why every time I go to the shop, I grab another one. All of a sudden, they randomly had yellow ones one time, and I'm like, oh, "You're coming home with me." Like it was, if there's a fresh batch sitting out, one of them's coming home with me. I have like different hats. Like this is I keep this one like near my studio. I have one I wear to the gym. Like I have different hats for all.
Oh, so there are different hats for different occasions.
Yeah, because I wear one to the gym, and I'm going to sweat in that one, so I don't want to
Right, you don't want to wear it in the studio. Yeah, that's not a good look.
Exactly. You got to have standards in the hat.
I might need to get one, man.
You know what, Kevin? We matching hats one day.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about right there.
We have to make it happen.
All right,
maybe then we'll get some Kevin and Zach React hats. KZR.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Ryan Ripken show merch, Kevin Zach React merch. Again, we got to get the put it on a shirt. We got to get the
put it on a shirt.
Your silhouette of the glasses, hat, glasses, mustache, like that would sell. Like is a Zach Bollinger shirt. Content, anything within reason for content would sell. Hate watch shirts, like there's a Ryan of the O's are fine shirt. I think would be very controversial, but would still sell. Like, man, there's a lot, and I'm telling you, man, we're gonna keep trying to get on this train here. We're trying to get on it, so we're gonna get on that as soon as we can.
Yeah, let's do it, Kevin. All right, do we have anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's it. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. Orioles, after the Phillies lost, Orioles are officially the #1 team in baseball.
Love that.
How about that?
How
about that, Kevin?
Hey.
How about them O's?
Keep stacking. Keep stacking.
Kevin, call me crazy.
You're crazy.
I think the O's are fine.
Oh. I just thought you wanted me to call you crazy.
Yeah, that too. Okay. But yeah, I guess that's going to do it for another edition of Kevin and Zach React. The Baltimore Orioles take the series in Tampa by a score of 7-5. They will have the final game tomorrow in the Trop. Walk into your Trop, take over your Trop. The Yankees also lost. So did the Red Sox, which means Kevin, let me get officially. Let me check to make sure this is official. But I believe so, yeah, which means the Orioles are 1 game up above the Yankees and 7.5 above the Red Sox, which just makes me feel a little bit better because it was 5.5 2 days ago, and it was like you're creeping a little too close for comfort. So all good in Birdland right now, going for the sweep tomorrow. And we will see you after that game. It starts at 1:40. So we'll be back here probably around 4 o'clock-ish. So, yeah, that'll do it for another edition. And we will see you all tomorrow.